Hi everyone, welcome to October. This is the month where usually we'd be jet setting to Essen and frantically making videos before and after it in a blind panic. That's obviously not happening this year, but there are still going to be a lot of games coming out. Certainly not as many, I'm sure, but depending on publishers getting them to distributors and maybe publishers that want me to do videos for them, hey, we're going to end up with a load of cool games. And some are definitely on the way this month. For instance, very, very soon, perhaps now if you're a patron, but probably next week if you're not, and hey, there's still time to become one, Praga, Caput, Regni is the new game from Vladimir Suchy, and he designed things like Underwater Cities and Shipyard and Pulsar 2849, some immensely good games, and this is all about the building of Prague, and it's got 3D buildings for the wall and the cathedral and the bridge and stuff, but that's not why it's, I'm not going to spoil what I think about it, but it's got this lovely action crane that's got the various actions in, so all the actions are always available to you, some cost money if they've recently been chosen. If they haven't been chosen for ages, they start being worth points, and you start putting these wall tiles around your action board, and you can upgrade your actions, all this stuff. It'll make more sense in the playthrough, but it's fair to say I'm very excited to show that game off. The new expansion for The Magnificent, SNO. No, I'm pronouncing that wrong. There's a strike through the O. I should have looked that up. But yeah, Magnificent was an absolutely beautiful game from last year, one of the best games of last year, so excited to see that expanded. Bonfire is, well, I would say the latest game from Stefan Feld. Is it? Between it and Tuscany. I like this kind of 2-year cycle. I don't think there was a Stefan Feld game last year, was there? But a couple of years ago, there was Carpe Diem and Forum Trajanum, and kind of the same kind of pattern this year, that Bonfire is the big Forum Trajanum equivalent kind of game. Not similar game-wise, but kind of weight. That there's heavier one and then lighter one, like there was Carpe Diem, happy-go-lucky Carpe Diem, and then this year with Castles of Tuscany. There's already a playthrough kind of sneaked up, didn't need to be in a vote or anything, just realised it was out last month and thought, well, I'm getting on that, and glad I did, because it's absolutely fantastic. And there'll be playthroughs for things that I don't know if they were in the other votes. Alma Mater was. That'll be a playthrough this month. Gods Love Dinosaurs is a new game from Pandasaurus. Village Green from Osprey Games, a little card game designed by Pierre Sylvester. And the new expansion for Role Player as well. They're all going to be coming up. Oh, and there's going to be a couple more app ones if you're into your board game apps. Wingspan has just come out. The Stonemaier game designed by Elizabeth Hargrave. Oh, it's not there anymore. I got it out because I've been playing not the newly announced expansion, the other expansion. And also Fury of Dracula, which I've not played. The closest equivalent is we've had Letters from Whitechapel at some point, that kind of hidden movement game. But I know Fury of Dracula, there's more going on than there was in that game. But yeah, I've never played it, so this will be, I think, the first going into an app, and that's my introduction to the game itself. But yeah, that'll be coming up. So anyway, on to the games that will be on the vote. If you are a patron at the voter level or above, then you can vote on the playthroughs that get done each month. It's not just the top one that gets filmed. The whole thing gives me an idea of what you want to see the most and the least, and try and tailor the ones that I film towards that. And there's top 10 votes as well. But yeah, there's time. Well, depending on when you watch this, if you watch this in 100 years, there's probably not time to get in the vote. But yeah, if you watch this soonish, there's time to get in the vote. It's open for a couple of weeks and before it closes. What words I was searching for there. But anyway, the games that will be on the vote this month. So it's going to be more of a classics vote, since these new games that I'm getting are getting filmed. There's no question about these, Essen releases, about Praga and The Magnificent and Bonfire and stuff. They're getting filmed very, very soon. Certainly this month, hopefully in the next few weeks. But so I thought it would be a good chance to, rather than having all of these brand new votes all the time, let's look back at some of these games from maybe Rachel's top 10 and my top 50, and looking at the game shelves and think, what, I never did a video for that? That needs fixing. So yeah, suggest your own if you like. But these are ones that I've pulled off, and yeah, I meant to limit it down to 10, but I went off on one. And some it's because we've played recently. I think, yeah, why haven't we, why haven't I filmed these ones? So first off is Amerigo by Stefan Feld. Amerigo is a game with a great big cube tower. You drop a load of cubes in it to determine actions. We have all of these different colours of actions. Each phase of the game, we grab all the cubes of that colour, drop them in the cube tower again, and then some extra cubes might come out. The cube tower is very inscrutable. Keeps some cubes, spits some extra ones out. So you'll end up with some extra colours probably in there. And so the largest number of a certain colour is the number of action points everybody's got for that phase. And all the colours that have come out determine which action you can choose to take. So it's not like a fixed thing that in the boat phase, everybody's going to be doing boats. It's going to be down to what comes out of this cube tower. And we're going to be sailing around these islands, trying to establish trading posts so we're allowed to build these, polyomino pieces on them, and we need to defend against pirates or we're going to lose a load of points. We need to make technological progress so we can get these permanent abilities. All sorts of lovely, juicy, point salady, Stefan Feldy stuff. Absolutely fantastic. Don't just say that because it's got a lovely cube tower, although that's definitely a significant factor in it. Next is Agricola. I thought about doing this very recently for a milestone, but there wasn't time. Agricola is in my top 10. It's one of my favourite games. It's one of the first, probably the first kind of meaty Euro game that I ever played before I knew that was a thing or how to describe any of these games. But yeah, Uwe Rosenberg's farming masterpiece. Caverna is a more recent addition, but Agricola, with all of its crazy amount of cards and variables and combos, is still the one that's nearest and dearest to my heart. And yeah, it's never gotten a playthrough. Should that change, or are there enough playthroughs of Agricola about? Next is one of Rachel's, although, yeah, I say that it's one of Rachel's top 10 as if I don't love it. Yeah, these stick around because we both love these games. But Queen's Architect is, I would say, I don't think the topic's come up yet, but for like kind of overlooked, underrated games, I would definitely put Queen's Architect on it, because this is a game where we're architects for the Queen. We're trying to build all of these things around the kingdom and impress her, and we do this by getting these various craftsmen of different types. Different areas want different combinations of types to be able to build there, but they all have values around these hexes. And every time you use them for a build, they rotate. Some start off strong and get worse, some start off rubbish and get better, and some ebb and flow. And you can go back to the pub and rotate them anti-clockwise, because if they rotate all the way, then they retire and leave you. It's a really unique system, a really fantastic system as well. And as someone mentioned that I didn't talk about in Rachel's top 10, that it's got like the score track for you to get up to the top to finally impress the Queen and win the game. It's a race. Is variable every game. There are different values all the way up this score track, and it's kind of like there's 3 and 5 and 4, and based on your points, you can you get some reward for spare points, but you need to time your builds and the works that you've got properly so you can make the most effective jumps up this score track. It's absolutely fantastic. That's Queen's Architect. Last Will is in my mind again. I've put this in the votes a lot of times, and I know it doesn't tend to get that many, but it's another Vladimir Suchy game. It's Eurogame Go for Broke. Who didn't love Go for Broke when they were kids? This is All Brewster's Millions, the game. You've got a load of money from a wealthy uncle. You need to spend it as quickly as you can for reasons. So you'll be buying crazy estates and making these friends to leech off you and going for expensive dinners and stuff, all wrapped up in a beautiful Eurogame. And maybe that could lead to doing the Prodigals Club one day, because the Prodigals Club is a similar idea, but kind of opened it up way more. And it had these different modules that you could plug in game by game. And one of the ways that you could play Prodigals Club was with all these different modules, and you could plug Last Will in as one of those modules. So that would be good to do that one day. But first we've got to do Last Will. Vote for that if you want to see it. Kingdom Builder is an absolute classic from Dominion designer Donald X. Vaccarino. And I'm not sure of the wide opinion of it these days, but it's been much maligned, as far as I've heard, that we've got this lovely map with all these various types of terrain on it. On your turn, you draw a card, and you will put a house on that type of terrain. That seems to be the problem people usually have with it, that your choice is that limited to the card that you drew, but it's all up to the way that you place things, because you have to put houses adjacent to where you've put them before. So it's about kind of strategically placing houses so that it gives you the widest array of options. But with the restrictions of what you can do on your turn, there's so much kind of decision space that comes from that, and that's not even adding in all of the various expansions and different types of abilities that you can get from expanding across the boards. I think it's absolutely fantastic. First Class, it's not that old, but apparently I never did a video for it. I was sure that I had to look some of these up because I thought, surely was I doing videos back then? First Class is from one of the designers of Russian Railroads, absolutely fantastic game. And there's a little bit of it. Well, it's a train game as well, but it's a card game. It's a quite a fast card game that's all built around combos, really, which, Russian Railroads has got that kind of escalation that in the first round you'll be scoring very, very few points, but it's a cumulative thing that by the end of the game you'll be scoring hundreds of points in a round. Well, maybe a couple of hundred if you're doing well. And First Class is very much like that as well. You are moving your railroad along routes and getting different bonuses based on cards that you've put there. You are trying to expand out all of your carriages and get a bonus if you can get all of your cars out. It just works beautifully, and it's got a load of different modules as well, so you can combine them in different ways to get very different games. There's a murder mystery one as well, but unfortunately it doesn't work very well at 2 players, so I've never played it. Peloponnes is another one that's it's pretty high up in my top 50, I think. It's the best auction game, and I say that as, again, I mainly play 2 players, so a lot of auction games don't really work or don't work well with 2 players. Peloponnes works absolutely beautifully. We're getting different land cards or buildings to build up an empire. They have abilities, all that good stuff. But the auction is you get 1 bid. And if you're outbid, you have to come off the tile that you wanted, and the exact same bid has to go onto something else. If you can't afford anything anymore, tough luck. Or if you can't afford the thing you want, you either take it back and get a little consolation prize, or get the thing you didn't really want. It's all about the kind of the mind games. That's okay. Well, what are they going to bid on this? How much do I need to bid? The minimum is only 2, but if I bid 2, then someone's surely going to outbid me. It's an absolutely fantastic game. Nauticus, see how I've put too many options in this, haven't I? Nauticus is a Kramer and Kiesling game. They have made absolutely fantastic, beautifully elegant games. Did I do a playthrough of Porta Nigra? Maybe that should have been on it. And Palaces of Carrara. I only wanted to pick one of their games. Nauticus is a shipbuilding game that is in my mind because whenever I mention Shipyard and how much I love that, Rachel always comes back with, well, what about Nauticus? That's a fantastic shipbuilding game. She doesn't say it in those words, of course. That'd be a weird, stilted conversation. But I thought, yeah, that deserves some love in here as well. Vengeance is another game from Gordon Kaleha, who designed Post-Human Saga that I did a playthrough for quite recently. And this is a kind of Kill Bill, Roaring Rampage of Revenge movie in a game. And it's another one that, in a different way to Post-Human Saga, uses dice really, really beautifully, rather than them just being this roll to resolve thing that, you got a 6, you killed the bad guy. There is a beautiful puzzle to the dice combat in the game. And at the same time, it is this kind of movie-like experience. Lovely minis and stuff, loads of different enemies to fight, and yeah, a lovely kind of filmic story evolves as you play through it as well. Pandemic. This kind of came up when I did my co-op list. I've never done a playthrough for actual Pandemic. I've done a playthrough for all of these different variations and The Cure, and I want to do a playthrough for the expansion for that at some point, and Rising Tide and the Roman one, and I didn't do the Cthulhu one, but yeah, all of these various things. But the actual core, the one I loved the most, is base Pandemic with its expansions turned up, basically. Well, its first 2 expansions. I never got the State of Emergency one, but the On the Brink and especially the In the Lab expansion, which takes the base thing of, just get 5 cards of a colour and then turn them in and you cure the disease. Now we have an extra step onto that. I just like things getting complicated, getting more complicated than they used to be, where now there's like a little puzzle of moving cubes along these various test tube pipes to be able to research the cure. I really, really love playing it like that. And a couple more. I promise these will be very quick, because these are on here because I know they're great. I remember them being fantastic. I remember so little about them that I would like to play them again if you want to see playthroughs for these. So Tzolk'in the Mayan Calendar, I've banged on and on about Teotihuacan, and recently I did a playthrough for Tekenu that are part of this loose series. Tzolk'in, Where It All Began, we last played that years ago. I've still got it. And I know that it's based on these gears, and it's a worker placement game, and you put your workers on the gears, and the gears turn every turn. And so the longer you leave your workers somewhere, the better the benefit they're going to get it. I remember very little beyond that. So yeah, should I be refreshing my memory? I think I should be. And we're going to do it this month, though. And finally, in that same vein, Bruxelles 1893 is another fantastic, heavier Euro game. And the only thing I remember about that is there's a kind of area control auction based on the actions that you took. You know, you're placing your workers on these actions in this grid, but based on how many you've got in different columns is going to get you benefits at the end of the round based on a kind of worker auction. And it's got this beautiful Art Deco style. So it's the same artist that did Trois, and while it's a vastly different style, of course, it's very kind of suited. It's beautifully suited to the theme. I know that. One of the main criticisms of Trois is that people don't like the art, but I think it fits it absolutely perfectly and fits it. It's Alexander Roche does the art for it, just remembered. And yeah, it's beautiful in Brussels 1893 as well. So that is it for all of the vote options. If you stuck around this far, thanks. It's really good, isn't it? Talking about games. But another thing as well, I don't know if anyone else remembers these. You would have to have been in England and been young in the 90s probably. But does anyone remember these? Mini adventure comics. I remembered them a few years ago and then forgot about them again and rediscovered them. I used to get them from newsagents. It's 35p. It says on it. This is the first one. I managed to find this on eBay because I don't know if any of my old ones are out there anymore. Choose your own adventure, basically, but it's like a little mini one that you could just do fairly quickly. I never had Fighting Fantasy and actual Choose Your Own Adventure. I can't remember what series they were from. They were like. There was a secret agent one. I remember it had a flap in the back for you to do your little ticks and stuff and track your health, I think. I don't remember what series or anything they were from, though, but I used to love Choose Your Own Adventures. Maybe there'll be a strange playthrough doing one of these, because they are essentially made for children. That's why I didn't end up doing that kind of escape roomy puzzle series that I remembered from when I was younger. But I just like looking back at these things, because I've got the things that I have always got is these. The same people did these comics. Basically, it's a choose your own adventure comic that was it was the same follow-on story all the time, but it was kind of different themes. The first one was in a castle. I don't know where that is. I remember the cover got lost eventually, but you can see all of the like sellotape and staples on these and stuff. And the next one was kind of a Pirates of Atlantis theme, but it's the same people. It's like Wizard, Whitebeard and stuff going off on these adventures. I don't know if they're ever going to make videos. I just wanted to bring them up. They've been in these shelves for ages because I was going to mention them at one point about 3 years ago and never did. Anyone remember Mini Adventure Comics or Legend Maker? They only made like 3 issues of it, and then they stopped making them, and the newsagent had to tell my mum that there was no more to come. I was gutted. I was pretty young there. Anyway, that's October. The album is The Raconteurs Consolers of the Lonely. I like most of what Jack White has ever done, especially the White Stripes, if you see my top 10 albums video that I did. But the Raconteurs are a fantastic, well, not a side project, it's like an alternating project. He's in a ton of bands at one time, but this is their second album, and well, I love the first one. The second one is, yes, it's a step above, and pretty much all perfect all the way through. Fantastic rock album. I think that is it, though. Thank you for joining me for October. Thank you for everyone that has signed up to Patreon. Hopefully you will enjoy all of the early access stuff. Discord is coming very soon. We'll play some online games together. And yeah, you vote on all of this lovely stuff. And thank you for keeping me going. It's great, isn't it? I'm going to go and edit this now and then have a rest. Bye, everyone.